This is Planet Music.
Welcome to Planet Music from the makers of Planet Marzipan.
In a streaming world, we're proud to be a podcast that celebrates the art of the album. Hello and welcome to Planet Music. I'm Meza. I'm here with my good friends
Craig.
and
Mikey.
Hey. God, it's almost like they've got it off pat now, isn't it? That was really good. That was really good. Hello, welcome to the episode. As you can tell from the title of the episode, we are here to talk about an album by The Deer Hunter, and the album is called Migrant. This, full disclosure, was a choice of Graham Tennick.
Yes, it was.
It was, as will become apparent. This was released in 2013, April the 2nd, 2013. And there is a Wikipedia entry for this album. It says, Migrant is the fifth studio album by The Deer Hunter. It was released on April the 2nd, 2013 via Equal Vision Records and Cave and Canary Goods. The album was produced by Mike Watts and Casey Crescenzo and mixed by Mike Watts. It's the band's first non-concept album. In 2023, as part of the album's 10th anniversary, it was remixed and re-released as Migrant Returned. Do we do
Yes,
how
it
old?
was.
Do we do how old you were, Craig, on this one? We do, don't we?
You could do it if you want.
How old were you, Craig, on April the 2nd, 2013?
I was the ripe old age of 40.
Wow, you got this for your birthday, couldn't you?
I was going to guess 40. Do you know why? Because I listened. I was late catching up with a certain episode and that you recorded about another album that was released in 2012, and you said you were 40 that week or something. Yeah.
Yes, in September.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Craig, do you want to give us a little bit of background to The Deer Hunter and what led up to this point?
Yeah. So I mean, how I got into it in the first place. So I'm a huge Coheed and Cambria fan, and for anybody who knows Coheed and Cambria, it's huge story arcs, album after album after album, developing stories and what have you. And it was around about 2012, 2013 that I kind of got into things like Reddit and subreddits and reading people's obsessions and what have you. And there was all these people talking about the story for Coheed and Cambria. And then I started noting saying, oh yeah, but the acts. Have you listened to Deer Hunter? And I was like, what the hell's this? And it was just after Migrant had come out. So I didn't listen to Migrant because everybody's going to know it's about the acts. For those of you who don't, so basically, Casey Crescenzo is the guy who the band is all revolved around. It's his idea. He was in a band. I've got it on a page behind this video call, but I can't remember what it's called. The Reason of Everything, something like that. He basically joined the band at 20 years old. Came up with some.
It was in
music
a
with
band
them.
called The Receiving End of Sirens.
The receiving end of sirens. That's the one. And basically, he wrote some music for them, which was really well accepted. But he had some ideas that didn't fit with the band. And depending on who you listen to, he was kicked out of the band because he was trying to force his music, or he left the band because he wanted freedom, or he was asked by a record company who heard the demo, the misleading demos, to record this first album, The Act. The story is, he had an experience with a prostitute that he fell in love with. So he did, as in Casey. And he wrote this whole story about a relationship and something with the prostitute and all this kind of stuff and what have you. And it was a huge story arc that went on well past Migrant. And I listened to this and I just got obsessed. Not that I do that with musicians and albums.
No.
You got no history of that. No.
So he did that, the first three acts. So the first three albums are Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 of the boys' story. And then he did a thing called the color spectrum. So he said, I need to take a break from the acts. I need to develop the story further, because the way he explained it was he was too young to tell the story of someone's life. He had to grow up a bit so that he could write the songs with maturity. So he took a break for it, and he went, "What I'm going to do is I'm going to write a collection of songs about the color spectrum." And he released this 10 EP set, and each of the 10 EPs is based on the color spectrum, including black and white. And each EP is a different style of music, whether it's alt rock, rock and roll, whatever, swing rock or whatever. And it is stunning. 36 tracks in total, I think it is. And you can buy a 14-track selection of it, or you can buy the live DVD, which is the entire thing played start to finish in a live setting. It is phenomenal. And it shows the diversity of what you can do. And everybody thought after that he would go back and do Act 4. And he went, "No, I'm not ready yet. I need to get something off my chest." And Migrant is what came off his chest.
Okay.
It's about, rather than it being a story and written about other characters and stuff, it's a very personal album. It's also written very differently to a lot of stuff. So he explained that because it was personal, because he wanted it to be identifiable, he wrote it on most of it on piano. So although a lot of it has heavy guitars and guitar-based stuff, it was written around keyboard parts, and you can hear that throughout the album.
Yeah, I kind of thought that.
I dipped into a couple of other tracks from different albums, and it's very different to this.
Very, very different. Yeah. So, by the way, the guy is an amazing. He owns his own record company or his own imprint. He also owns a company called Cave and Canary, who do his distribution and also make and sell guitars.
Okay.
Right. I mean, the guy is just. His dad was a banjo player. His mum was a singer. I mean, his mum and his sister sing on this album.
He's your type, isn't he?
He is.
You've got a type, and this is it.
This is it, yeah. He's also one of the best lyricists I've come across. I mean, I'm going to say something at the first song. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but when I say it, you'll be able to take it and cut and paste it for every song on this album. All right.
Don't peak too early then.
No, but that's where I came in. So I came into it just after Migrant. I didn't buy Migrant because it had sold out. And for anybody who knows anything about the Deer Hunter, his pressings sell out really, really quickly. They're always fairly limited, 500 copies, 1,000 copies, and they go for hundreds of pounds immediately. They just, and that's why I went, right, I couldn't. So I didn't own any of his albums for years because they were $300-400 minimum when I started looking. Luckily, he's re-released everything since, and I have bought everything since he's done it.
And Craig and Mikey and myself, we'd not heard this album before, had we?
Nope.
Had you heard of The Deer Hunter?
No.
Or heard anything about? No. Wow. Okay.
And it's worth pointing out that if you're searching for it, it is Deer, as in DEAR.
Yes, it's not Cavatina.
No. Which is what you will find if you search The Deer Hunter. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think for me, when I discovered it, it was the same kind of revelation as it was when I heard Toy Matinee.
I know, and I haven't. Spoilers, I haven't had that. But
I know you haven't.
We'll come to it.
This is a very different style of music, though, and I'll yeah.
I see elements of it. Oh, again, don't want to preempt. I'm going to say I see elements of it as the album progresses. But
no, what are you doing then? Don't start meowing when you start talking.
What's that? Pepper's view on the album, was that?
No.
Is that Pepper's view on the album?
No. Yeah, I'll get meowed at. Oh, bloody cats, man.
Right. Well, we're going to do, as usual, a track-by-track review, and we need to get cracking because there are 15 tracks on this first version of it.
It's worth notice that's the deluxe version that we're listening to with the extra 3 tracks on the end. We'll say that now.
Yeah. So, let's start with Craig. Track 1 is Bring You Down.
Yeah, no. On first listening to this album, the style of it across the whole thing is, I think, if this had been released properly in the UK 10 years before it actually came out. So if this came out in like 2003 in the UK, it probably would have sold millions, because it's very much of a style of the indie guitar rock that was happening around about then. You had bands like, Embrace, Athlete, Star Sailor, Haven and that, who were doing material like this. And yeah, it's a very, very interesting album. So Bring You Down, the first track. I like the bit of tuning up at the beginning, with the
Well,
with the
it's
orchestra.
a discordant orchestra, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So it's something that I was almost expecting the conductor to be tapping his
Yeah.
baton at the
Yeah.
the beginning to go get yourselves sorted out. But no, I think it's got a lovely piano and string intro to it. The soft vocal intro. Now his vocals, it. I was trying to suss out who I think he sounds like, and I've put it down to two people
Go on, then.
on this song. Will South from 13 Senses, because there's some of the songs which have got a very, very Salt Wound Routine feel to from the first album there. Also, Jonas Buget, however he's pronounced it, from Mew. And especially when he's doing
I hadn't thought of that.
falsetto. Yeah, when he's doing like the falsetto things and stuff like that. There is so much in this album that I could actually pick off albums from 13 Senses and from Mew as well, where I can see the because this album does not sound American in the slightest. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. But I think it's, it does, after your soft intro, it goes into like an indie rock crash, and it starts to set out the stall for a bit like what the album comes to, where it does not all the songs are progressive in the way that you would say that they don't all sound the same. They don't all start the same. They'll start the same. They're not the same in the middle. They're not the same in the end. The songs develop. But I think it's quite poppy and accessible. A bit of prog chord changes in there, but I think it's a very interesting opening to the album.
Okay, Mikey.
Very similar to Craig, I feel. I didn't know what I was going to get when when the sires hit the track, but we all listen to it on streaming. Yeah, fantastic opener. I read it was a 4-string quartet, not a full orchestra, but I have been watching some of the making of trailers on YouTube, and it was very interesting watching the guys in the studio working with the strings. A very, very atmospheric opening. And again, you just think you're getting comfortable, I think I know where this is going, and then bang, in about 1.5 minutes, 1:40 into the track, and it's off on a tangent. And I'm like, right, okay. And I was really getting the vibe of this. It's orchestral, but rock and really sort of like tight with a lovely live feel to it. It gave me actually Coldplay Teen vibes, probably more leaning towards the Coldplay. I just like the way it's just, there's a lot of builds and drops in each track throughout the entire album, and I love that. The stopping and starting techniques and the rhythm changes, absolutely wonderful. I did actually watch on YouTube today. There's an acoustic version of this track, and at the end of the track that Max and Casey do together, they have a little bit of a chat about the album, and I think they were promoting the remixed, re-recorded version of the album at that point. And Max says that Casey kind of unintentionally wrote a divorce album, and you kind of get that, the lyrics. I'm going to back you up there, Grim. The lyrics throughout this entire album are absolutely top notch. And one of my favorite lines is actually off this track itself. It says, "Every sudden feeling of helplessness led me down to the bottom of myself." Great. And I think what I liked about this as well is that you've got quite heavy, dark lyrics going on through a lot of this album, but quite uplifting, anthemic music. Wonderful stuff. Really great opener. And from track one, I was sold. I thought if the rest of the album follows like this, Audra will win. Absolutely love it.
Okay. Yeah. I don't entirely agree with either of you, if I'm honest. It starts with this sort of discordant orchestra into a sort of piano with a almost brushes like a train rhythm, and then the full band with horns kick in, and that's the whole thing takes off in a completely different direction. It really isn't what I was expecting at all. A bit like Craig and Mikey, I was trying to place which vocalist he reminds me of most. Not particularly on this track, but some of the more up-tempo tracks. I get a bit of Brendan Urie from Panic at the Disco.
Yes, definitely.
You know, when he's really going for it, he gives me that sort of vibe. I mean, I love 13 Senses and I love Keen, but I can't hear either of those two vocalists in this. He's got a very clean voice, which is great. I was explaining to Gray before we started recording, the first couple of plays of this album, though, did not grab me at all. It's not an album to put on in the background. It was only when I listened to it in headphones that I really started to get things out of it. This is by far not the best track on the album for me.
Oh, God, no.
It does get progressively better. It's okay as an opener for me. Gray, what do you make of it?
So I think this suffers from him being too clever, because if you know his other material, if you know the acts, the start of this song makes you believe you're going to get an acts album. It makes you believe it's going to be written that kind of way with the orchestral piece, the growing and all that all kind, and then it just, as you say, it just goes off in one other direction. But I love the direction it goes in. I will say, because I think one of the things you said to me, John, before we started, and like it just, when you're not listening with headphones on, it all just sounds the same. It's one level. It's like, and I've got a friend who's a mixed engineer, and I said to him one of, not this album, but one of the other Deer Hunter albums, and he went, "Mate, I can't listen to that." He says, it's all full on all the time, and he says that's I can't do that.
Well, there's a point on the third track on this album where the whole mix changes, and it gets infinitely better from that point.
Yeah,
because everything becomes clearer. The instrumentation is clearer. There's space in the songs where you can hear what's going on.
Yeah,
you know.
But, and this is the copy and paste moment. I fucking love his lyrics and I adore his voice. When it's whether he's doing the belting it, like, and I think the Brendan Urie thing is that belting stuff is like, Sin's Not Tragedy and all that kind of stuff. It's like really, when he's going for it, it's really powerful. But when he's doing that close into the mic, quiet, personable stuff, it's just, it sends shivers down my spine. And for me, I mean, it's lyrics like, "I tried so hard to hide the cynic in me far from sight, but moments still arise when my flaws get the best of me." That is brilliant. And I think one of the things that will repeat through this album is, this is songs about him, about his experience. The last song is the best example, and I will tell the story of that. And I don't mean the last song on the original album, I mean the last song of the deluxe thing.
Well, I played that today, and the story you've told at the beginning of this episode explains a lot of that.
Yeah, it does. But it's not what I expected either. But for me, it's a different reason. It's not what I expected, because it started off making me think, oh, this is going to be an acts album. Then it went somewhere else. I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to track 2 then, Whisper. Craig.
Yeah, this picks it up a little bit, doesn't it? This one's a bit more faster paced. Again, it's got some lovely strings in it. This is the one where I really thought that sounded more the vocals from Will Smith from 13 Senses in the style that he sings the Salt Wound routine from the first album. That's the where I actually got the idea. Now, I re-listened to that afterwards just to think, is that what I'm thinking of? And to say, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
We should do a 13 Senses album.
Oh yeah,
we should.
13 Senses.
We should do a 13 Senses album.
But it's got some great like power pop, like power indie pop chords to this. But there's one thing I was thinking at the end of it where he uses like vocal effects later on, and he sounds so like Steven Wilson at the end. The very, very end of it, where when Stephen Wilson's got and H has done it on Radiation, the using the bullhorn kind of effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the open your mouth lyrical part.
The open mouth bit
Yeah.
to the end, I think
Yeah.
he's got like a rotary speaker slash
Yeah. And
vocoder
it
on it.
sounds very, very Stephen Wilson on that. But yeah.
Can I just say before we move on to that, so it's really interesting hearing you lot saying, I think it sounds like this, because like Casey is Casey, there's all this, and I've never actually found myself thinking, oh, that sounds like such and such, because I'm so engrossed in what he did. And it's really interesting hearing all these, because I'm like, oh yeah, so it does.
But it's what you do when you listen to music. You listen for reference points, and because we don't know any of the background, we're looking for reference points from our own taste and things we've heard before.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit I had to do the same, John, because I didn't know what I was expecting. So when I was listening to each track, I was doing what does this remind me of? Where's it taking me? When I mentioned bands, like I did with the first track, like Coldplay and Keane, I don't necessarily mean they sound like Coldplay and Keane. I'm just saying that's the vibe
It's your
and
reference
the
point.
feel that I get from the music. Yeah. Is it my turn?
It is.
Might as well. Look, it's pretty much what Craig said. The drumming on this is fantastic. The strings, as with pretty much every track on this album, are absolutely sublime. I think the support and the way they carry the music, is just, whoever arranged it is just hats off, gold star.
And with you, I think the arrangements are really one of the strong points of the whole album. The arrangements are good.
I agree, Craig. They're absolutely wonderful. And something else that I've noticed that he does with his lyrical writing, there's a lot of repeating mantras go on. And I think this track was the first one that I was made really aware of, where he does the "Don't let the world bring you down" repetitive line. When the track kicks in proper, it to me, it was almost leaning towards American sort of like new post-punk. I'm kind of thinking stuff like MCR, Alkaline Trio, Green Day. It was that bombasticness.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from with the Panic stuff, really.
Yeah, again, I don't think it sounds like them, but if you like that sort of music,
got that sort of feel to it, hasn't it?
You could really jump on with this sort of track. I think it was a natural progression from track 1 to track 2, and we'll get a massive change when it gets to track 3. But already I was quite taken by the shift in styles. Another one that I was really pleasantly surprised with.
Okay. It's a bit everything in the kitchen sink for me, this one. It's too much too soon, This if you move this further down the record, I could kind of understand it. There's a lot going on. The drums are incredible on this. I have to say that the drum track on this is brilliant. But no, it's not really doing it for me, if I'm honest. There's too much happening. And it does sound like those American bands to me. Mike, agree?
So it's moved 5 tracks down the playlist in the remixed album.
Well, there you go. You see, I was right.
So you were right. There you go. You're not often wrong.
I am often wrong, but I ask Craig to cut those bits out of the podcast usually. So
that's why the podcast is only 4 minutes long now.
Hey, go on, Gray. Tell us what you think of Whisper.
So I'm loving the fact. I'm going to ignore you, John. I'm loving the fact that I comment on the strings. So the first Axe album had an orchestral feel to it, but it didn't feel right. It didn't feel good. From Act 2, he actually had somebody working with him, doing string arrangements and strings, and he uses, I think it's called the Awesome Orchestra, and some Adam. Is it Adam McClune or somebody? I'm going to have to check. I have a page open. Adam McClune. As a sort of string arranger, and he's done a classical album with him. Casey's done a classical album on his own, and he's done a classical album around the Deer Hunter music as well, based on the stuff that he's done. So he really does build that stuff up, and just I mean, obviously, he's not playing stadiums. He's playing small clubs and pubs and things when he plays. And one of the comments is he often struggles because these brass sections and string sections that he writes with, he takes them on tour.
Wow.
So he'll turn up with a 17, 18 piece band. Not quite that many, but he'll have the brass, he'll have the strings, he'll have 2 or 3 guitarists, he'll have the bass player, the keyboard player, the drums. So it's a big, so he can get that sound live.
I would imagine live, it's great.
Yeah. But this song, so one of the things he said about this album is he tried not to layer the vocals. He tried not to do lots of re-recording, and because obviously, you know, people double the voice to give them a depth and a thickness. He tried not to do that on this album. He tried to have the lead vocal as a single thread because it loses for him. It loses a level of personableness, personality, closeness if you double them up, because it takes away the instance of it.
But
There
he's
is some in
he's
this.
almost shouting on this, isn't he?
Yeah, but there's bits on this where he layers. You can hear a harmony vocal or a backing vocal, but there's no double takes. And again, and all the lessons learned, were they worth the ash from all the bridges burned, standing stomping in the damage and the ruins of a slip of tongue with tragic consequences? I wish I could write words like that. It's amazing. It's just utterly, it's dumbfounding. And he's self-taught as well. You know, his music is, you know, initially he didn't have music lessons. His mum and dad are both musical, and he learned from listening to them, and he learned from their influences, which is why I think this album's a good example, because it's got rock stuff, it's got swing stuff, it's got jazzy swing stuff, it's got all sorts of stuff in it. And he's a multi-instrumentalist. I mean, he can play so much of it himself. I love it. I still think these first 2 songs are far from the best on the album.
Absolutely.
And we'll see what you guys think of the next one.
All right. Craig, track 3 is Shame.
The first note I'd actually put on for this track, it's a very smooth track, and it's got space in the instrumentation I put onto that. I like the keyboard intro, then it goes into the beat of the song and then the strings. It drives us. It's good driving forward track. I like his falsetto singing style on this. Now, I'm not generally a fan of people when they do like falsetto-y stuff, but he's got a few different vocal styles that he uses on this album.
Yeah.
He doesn't sing every song the same or by far, and he's got a good range in his voice, and he's comfortable in the different singing styles that he puts forward. But yeah, I think it's very like an indie rock kind of song, and I think the backing vocals on it are really nice as well. And I think it's a good track.
Okay, Mikey.
I like the fact that there was a nice change in pace and style. The thing that I picked up on more so in my second or third listen was the bass work, because it's not immediately apparent. But when you can sit and just absorb the music, when you've got the strings working with the bass and that wonderful drum work and those eerie sounding keyboards, there's just so many layers to it that you're not really apparent of on first listen. It's another one of those that's got a very stop-start rhythm. And I actually thought it had a certain Bond theme quality to it.
Definitely. Yeah.
What I really loved about it, and he does it, well, or they do it more than once on this album, is towards the end they actually slow the tempo down before the song actually finished. You could just feel them all sort of like winding down.
Like an breathe.
There's this wonderful twinkling noise that goes on just as the track fades out. Absolutely wonderful. And you're probably going to laugh at me, but I actually think if Hertz did their own version of this, it would be really good.
I can see that. With the instrumentation, the way it's done,
it is up there. It's one of my favorites on the album. Love it.
Okay. I'm going to agree with you this time. I think this is brilliant. I think his voice is far better in the low register, where he's not knocking Seven Shades of shit out of it. As Mikey says, the tempo at times, this song breaks down entirely to just orchestra with no rhythm and no tempo at all behind it, and then builds back up again. And Gray's left us. Um, um, I think it's great. This is where the album starts for me. It's from this point that my interest peaked again after the first two tracks, which just weren't doing it for me, I have to say. This is really good.
I am inclined to agree. I think, as I said, Bring You Down for me is wrong for the opening of the album. And I understand why he did it, but I don't think it works. Whisper for me, again, I agree with your kitchen sink comment to an extent. And it was like, just give us a minute. Let us get into it. This brings it down. And it brings it down in a really, really good way. You've talked about the bass work and the drums and the strings. If you've listened in headphones, John,
Yeah.
and I don't know how good your headphones are.
Well, they're not as good as yours, but yeah.
But you've got the it's almost like a pizzicato part, and it's a guitar.
Yeah.
And if you listen, it moves around because it goes da 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 da, and it plays around in the thing. It's quite unnerving. And if you listen to the words and you listen
hands
to the
left
style,
and right.
yeah,
Just for the listeners, because they can't see you moving your hands.
all right, yeah. And it's brilliant, and that kind of movement is kind of unnerving, and it. Oh, by the way, the backing vocals on this is his mum. It's his mum, Judy Crescenzo, that sings the backing vocals in this song. And I love the lyric. I love the whole vibe of the song. It brings it down, but it's still got movement. It's still got this vibe to it. So
I think it's got a depth to it that the first two tracks don't have.
Yes. Yeah,
It's
I totally agree.
It's quality. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Shall we go on to the next one? Craig, track 4 is An Escape.
I think this is one of the more straightforward tracks. It's the indie, as you're talking about the vocals, the indie rock voice returns for this one. And the indie like rock pop chords return for this. It starts off like it's a bit slow, the acoustic like guitar like bass and stuff like that, and then it picks up. It's very straightforward. It's canny enough track. Don't have a lot to say about it, but it's not a skipper.
Okay, Mikey.
I love this. I think it's absolutely wonderful. I called it, in brackets, Not So Manic Street Preachers. If you kind of know there's work from This Is My Truth, Tell Me Yours, or Everything Must Go, it has that feel to it and that drive to it. The strings, again, and I'll repeat this is my cut and paste, the strings really elevate the song for me. I think it just, how they can do that rockiness, but have the orchestra there and it not invade the space is just really, really, truly amazing. And the last 30 seconds of the track for me is absolutely awesome. The breakdown, it's just top-notch stuff. It really, really is. There's a wonderful line in it as well, which is, but in the arms of another, you were crying under the covers.
Yeah.
Nice little dicky vitriolic lyrics, which will, are quite apparent throughout the entire album. But yeah, this was vying for favorite track on the album for me.
Okay.
Wow.
I think it's better. I think it takes elements of the third track and the first and second tracks and mixes it up a bit. I'll tell you, another vocalist that I got from the intro of this is Pat Monahan from Train. Very much of his sort of lyric at the beginning, very much of his sort of delivery. But then we go back into some of the more shouty bits. But it's not, as Mikey said, there's more space in this track. It's not, you can hear things, you can hear the instrumentation, but it's still up tempo and then it comes back down again. Starts with a nice bass, dirty bass riff as well, which is lovely. Yeah, this is good. This is good. I like this.
Oh, well, I agree with all of you. Apart from Fair. I kind of agree with him because it is that kind of poppy song, that alt rock kind of is the more straightforward song. Until you actually compare the vibe of the song and that upbeat kind of driven sound and the sheer desolation of the lyric.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you think of it as like, oh yeah, it's quite an upbeat poppy song. It's got a good groove to it. It's kind of it's got a happy vibe to it. And then you go, oh God, where have I gone? And will I ever see the ones I tell to believe me? All the things I have done to keep those around from learning to read me. It's just like everything he says in this song is like negative and frightened, and it's as a personal album, as something where he's actually trying to get some of his demons out. Some of this album's really terrifying. Do you know what I mean? If you think of this is somebody's shedding their skin, the lyrics are so deep all the way across the album. And yet you listen to the song and you go, yeah, this is great. I can bop to this one. Really clever.
I think that's the challenge that I've got is I'm not going in to dig those lyrics out because of the way that they're delivered.
Yes.
The juxtaposition of what they're saying and the way he's singing it.
Yeah, no, I can get
It's
that.
really weird. It doesn't make me want to go, oh yeah, there's something deep here, you know.
So it's an interesting.
Yeah, because normally you know fine well, a lot of the albums that we've reviewed, I've delved deep into the lyrics.
We're normally talking about lyrics a lot.
Yeah.
But this album, I haven't as much. I think it's possibly because this album, not to put too huge a finer point on it, we haven't had as much time with this album as we have previous albums that we've reviewed.
And I can't think why.
So this one's one that we haven't had as much time to delve into than we have in pretty much all the albums that we've done previously. So it's been a little not exactly short-changed, but we haven't had the time with this.
Just listeners, just remember where you heard that first, because Craig will be saying that for the next 3 or 4 episodes, I think. Because we've got choices by other people that Craig's never heard. So coming up.
And we're recording 2 days normal, not earlier than normal as well, that we wouldn't do. But anyway.
We are, yeah, so that, yeah, and half an hour earlier. What the hell?
Sorry, where were we? Any more on Escape, Gray?
No.
Nope. Okay.
No, I could wax lyrical about everything all night, but we'll just.
We're trying to keep it under 3 hours. This one, so
all right, okay.
Craig, track 5 is Shouting at the Rain.
My first note on this is would have made a fantastic single in about 2004. This would have been potentially a good lead single in the UK for this album back in the day when you would think that this style of music was a lot more popular.
Yeah.
And I think it's got really nice smooth guitar work. The backing vocals on this are fantastic. It's back to a Mew style song with touches of 13 Senses. It's got that like European sensibility to it, and I say I love the guitar solo and the guitar work and that on it. This is one of my favorite songs on the album.
Okay,
that makes
Mikey?
me happy.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same as Craig on this one. This one really moved me. It really, really did. And it's probably one of 2 that I've actually played more than the rest of the album. The guitar work on this one, I agree with Craig entirely. It is absolutely wonderful and really makes the track. Going by what Craig said about it being released in 2004, I can actually bring it closer to that, to this date now. Because I think it sounds like the 1975's Love It If We Made It. It has that feel to it. And I also think if Tears for Fears were to record this as they sound now, as they sounded on the Tipping Point, I think it would work. I think it does have that, I agree, it does have that like early 2000s indie vibe to it. But I think there's bands putting this sort of thing out now as well. The ending for me is the only thing that spoils it. I think it's a bit too sudden. and I could have easily had another 1 or 2 minutes of this song. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And there is a music video for this.
There is.
It is so sad. It's worth a look. I mean, the track moved me almost to tears anyway, and in hand with that video, it just choked me up. So head to YouTube and watch the music video for this one. It's really good.
Okay. I haven't got the benefit of seeing the video. I'm just going off what I can hear. It's okay. I think, although I said Pat Monahan in the last track, this was the one I wrote it down in my notes for. It does sound a bit like a train track to me, not as in a track by train. It's all right. It's not awful, and it's okay. Sorry, great.
I need to tell a bit of a story about this one, not about the song, but about where I was. So this was released 2013, and around that time I was at the point where I was deciding whether or not I was going to stay in the army for the rest of my career or get out. I may well take over John's point of actually crying on podcasts at this point. This song's about self-worth and how you see yourself, and the struggle of having spent so long trying to be something for someone else, or something, hiding who you are for other people, that you don't realize who you are anymore, or you're unable to show that freely. And I mean, my first 10 years in the army, I didn't see my son's birthday. His 10th birthday was the first one I was home for. I joined the army late. I spent a lot of time trying to catch up with people that my peers, my age and what have you. And I did a lot of things that took me away from home. I mean, my first 2 years in the army, I was away for 19 months. So there was a lot of, and I spent all this time focusing on work so that I could deliver for my family, so that I could be the provider. And that point of 2012, 2013 was my 14, 15-year point, which is one of the points where you can go, actually, do you know what? I've had enough and getting out. And strangely, it was just after I'd left Morpheus Rising, because my decision was, I'm going to get out, I'm going to stay with Morpheus Rising, I'm going to get another job, I'm going to be in the band. And then I was like, actually, they offered me a job that was too good to say no to at the time. And I went away to Africa, 2011, 2012. And listening to this lyric, and I'm going to say that the first two lines of the second verse is, maybe I just haven't got the goods, or maybe I've forgotten the way to find that piece of me that's buried down below. And it just fucking breaks me every time. So the music's brilliant. The guitar part is so simply done, but so powerful in the way because it's that kind of, there's a melancholy to it that matches his lyrics. And again, for me, this is not the best song on the album. It's not my favorite song on the album, but it's the one of three that have a ridiculous amount of impact when I listen to it. I can listen to it and not even consider it. Like, if I pay attention to the words, no, I am a sodden mess.
Okay. Well, obviously it means a lot to you, mate.
So talking about crying on the podcast, this is why we will never review Thea Gilmore's Lie Jacker album, because once you get to the song that she did with Joan Baez, The Lower Road at the end, I cannot listen to that song ever without crying my eyes out.
Right, that's definitely going on the
So
list.
it's not.
That's
Definitely going on the list now.
It's not.
It is. It is. We're taking it in turns. I've cried. Gray's cried. It's you or Mikey next. Well, Mikey's been close.
Mikey's been really close.
I've been close.
Yeah, Mikey's been close. Anyway, welcome to Cry Along with Planet Music.
The
next track on the album is The Kiss of Life, Craig.
Now, we're back to talking about sound-alikes. This is another one where the vocals reminded me a lot of 13 Senses and the song Gone from the Invitation album. The vocals at the start, and that remind me so much of that. But it's got a really nice intro, a the intro to it is gorgeous. Then a minute or so in, it changes to like indie pop rock style again, but some nice drum brushes, and it goes quite bass driven. And I think it's got like almost like a prog sensibility to it, because the way that it's structured. You know how what we were saying earlier in different song, how it starts one way, you think it's going to go somewhere, then it changes again, then it changes again, and this is another one like that, and I like the way that it changes, and it keeps the interest level up. So I do like this song.
Okay, Mikey.
What Craig said.
Okay, great. That's it, great. No,
No, don't you dare. I'll tell you who it reminded me of, the vocal style, and you're probably going to cringe. Brian Molko from Placebo.
really?
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen
Ooh.
Placebo. Yeah.
Just the delivery. I think there was something about it.
I totally get that.
The piano work, and you can tell from what Graham said earlier on about it being written around a piano, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of these tracks start out that way, and I think that dipping your little toe in prog works really well for this album, because like I've said in like previous tracks, the stop, the start, the rhythm changes lend themselves to stylistically the way the band develop. You've got like dropouts and comebacks, and so well structured. I love the bass work in this. I love the guitar work. I love the drum work. And there's this instrumental section in the middle, which just builds and builds and builds, and then it just drops out, and you're left with just vocals and piano again. It's wonderful. And again, it's another one of those tempo slowdowns before the song ends.
Yeah.
Really cleverly written, really cleverly performed. And it feels like the band's just working really well together on this one. Really good track.
Yeah. I think I agree with both of you. I think it's a great track. It's a full band track, but it's not a wall of sound track.
Yeah.
And again, as I've already said, I appreciate that side of this album better than those that are really going for it full throttle. It's nice. I mean, there's great female vocals, well, 3/4 of the way through, which kind of building with like quite a quick drum beat behind them, and the whole thing's building up. It's really clever, really clever. I like this. I haven't really looked at the lyrics though, Gray. Are they important?
Yeah, so it's funny. So where Craig was saying, it starts really nicely. It's got that kind of, and it's a really drenched sound. It's really full of reverb and all this kind of, and then shoots off in another direction. And I think that's because it's the first four lines are saying, "This is what happened. This is a story I'm going to tell you." So it's like from a memory type thing. So it's drenched in sound. And then it goes, so basically it's hope was closing with my eyes, down the shallow grave I was lying. Then I heard someone say, he'll be stuck here forever, but I prayed it wasn't forever. And then it changes, and you've got the music changes, and the reverb goes. You're in the moment, it's in your face, you're talking to a guy, and it's because you were leaning over me, clutching memories of when I was alive, and then you breathed life into me one last time, but I prayed it wasn't the last time. And so it's a love song to someone who has dragged him out of a depression, dragged him out of a place that he didn't want to be. But the way he does it with the different aspects, you're talking about the stops and the starts, and it's like a random thought process. He's singing about, talking about the memories of the song, the memories of the person, memories of how bad he feel, but how good he was, because it would be so wonderful to see your starry eyes again, which is the refrain. I think is brilliant. Again, still not my favorite song on the album, but it's just so well done.
Okay, cool. Track 7 is Girl. Craig, what do you think of that one?
Now, this is almost a bit of a change of style to it, because I put on my notes, it's like a pop version of a Muse song.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I think it's
really said
because
I would love to be inside your head, but I really
no,
wouldn't.
you really
Really
don't.
wouldn't.
It's more to do because his vocals on this are like they're quite a screamy vocal, and they've got like almost like a Matt Bellamy like a vibe to it.
Yeah.
With that, that's where I got that from. But you know, because it's got your musy kind of distorted guitars and stuff on, and but the female backing vocals keep it lighter, so that keeps it away from sounding like Muse. But it's almost like something that would be inspired by them, but in a different style.
I get that.
Well,
Yeah.
does that make any freaking sense whatsoever?
Kind of, yeah.
But yeah, it's okay. It's not not one of my favorite songs on the album, but it's interesting. It's different.
Okay. Mikey?
What Craig said.
Stop.
It was
Done.
Get some ideas. Come on.
yeah, it was almost jarring because the musical style is quite different from the rest of the album. And at this point in the middle of the album, it doesn't really feel like anything else after it either. What I did like about it, it's got quite a funk rhythm to it. But you've also got this sort of like grungy grittiness sound to it as well. The guitars at about 2 minutes in are absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. And like Craig said, the handoff vocals that the girls are given against his lyrical refrains are absolutely brilliant. What I wrote down is that actually the ending of the song sounds to me a little bit Franz Ferdinand. It's,
Oh wow.
um,
Okay.
but as it's an entirety, I put down it's a vitriolic foot tapper.
I like that. I like that.
Wow.
You put on a
It's-
what?
A vitriolic foot tapper.
I like that. Yeah.
It's not my favorite track on the album, I must admit, but like Craig said, it is very interesting. It's good to see something different on the album.
Okay. I love this, but this is so Panic at the Disco, this.
Yes.
The way it jumps around stylistically,
Yeah.
the vocal delivery, the female vocals, then cut to a staccato drum with a it's brilliant though. It's really good. It is not like anything else on the album, as Mikey says, but that makes it so much better. Why it's right in the middle of the record, I've no idea. But it's great.
Yay. So the female vocals on this are Asia Crescenzo's. That's his sister that does the female vocals on this one. I love this. It's jarring as fuck compared to the rest of the album. It's like one verse, then that refrain about every single heart would beat for you with his returns, and then the don't let him in bit with the guitar going underneath it. It's not a song. It's not structured like a song. It's like a verse, a refrain, and then a kind of chorus thing at the end with loads of instrumentation around it. It's a hate song. It's about a girl that obviously he's got a beef with. It's really, really, but it's brilliant. And so one of the things he said about this album. So in particularly in the color spectrum, there was a lot of heavy guitars, a lot of rock and grunge stuff. For the styles of the music he did. And one of the things he wanted to stay away from in this album was distorted guitars. Now, if you don't play the guitar, sometimes there's a bit of a difference in like you've got overdriven guitars and you've got distorted guitars. Two very different sounds to a guitarist, maybe not a very different sound to somebody who just listens to the music. A lot of this is overdriven guitars. This is the
Is it
closest
not a
it gets.
harmonica?
This is the closest it gets to being distorted, but he also uses distortion on the drums on that. So that grungy feel, the whole of this album, this song is angry and pushed to the limit. And it's just totally different. And I mean, there's a lot of different styles in this album, but they all tend to gel together apart from this, which just sets out 1 mile away from everything else and goes, yeah, come and have a bit.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
I love it.
Utterly brilliant.
Great. Okay, let's move on. Track 8 is Cycles. Craig.
When this started, the vocal effect that he uses at the start, I was like, where the hell do I recognize that from? And it came to us pretty much straight away. The vocal effect is almost identical to what H uses on the Marillion album somewhere else of No Such Thing. The distorted, almost like
Yeah.
underwatery kind of
Yeah.
vocal thing. But no, it's good start. Again, this is another song that I found is like very Mew-like. I like it. I think I love that. It's almost like a freestyle feel to it. It changes. I like the way that it's kind of changes throughout, and then but for the last 40 seconds changes completely. That the outro for it is just so different to the song, and it's an interesting track. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites on the album, but it's interesting. I like the way that it develops, and I like the way that it changes throughout, and I like the way that it ends. So
Okay.
it's one that I think I need to revisit again properly. I don't think I've listened to it enough times to quite get my head around it.
Okay. Mikey?
This is one of the tracks that I actually have revisited quite a few times because I I didn't know what I was getting from it the first listen. Um, the opening of it to me sounds quite psychedelic. It's those vocal effects and the keyboard sounds are just wonderful. But when the song proper kicks in, I was getting Keen vibes again. It was you've got like so many musical styles kind of crammed in. It's not quite kitchen sink. I think they've played it out really well. Um, but what I loved about it was what Craig mentioned there. It's that you get a false ending to the song,
Yeah.
you know, and then you've got like if 50 seconds, instrumental, wonderful musical coda. Um, and that again, it could have gone on longer for me. I just thought it was absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. Um, I think it's nice that this kind of like almost 10 pulls the album for me. I think it's like a lifting point. Because I think what follows after that kind of it's a bit of a come down. I think that this is one of the last highs for me. But I thoroughly enjoyed it and I have had to go back to it. I think it's so strangely but wonderfully arranged. I think it's really clever. Really
Can I
clever.
just confirm? Did you just say it's one of the last highs for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Okay. Any more on it, Mikey? No?
No, no.
No. I do like this. There's some great sort of vocal melody lines in this track. I'm afraid I'm going to throw another band out there that I think some of this album sounds like. I think it's like Six by Manson, which is all cut and paste stuff. It's just
Yeah.
Manson 6, nothing flows into anything else. They just literally change direction in the same song 180. Some of this is a bit like that, I think. No,
That
I'm
might be.
looking at three blank faces here. No one.
No. Actually, do you know what? That might be why I'm going to say what I'm going to say about this song.
Okay. But it's beautiful as well. Despite all that, it's not jarring, this song. It's really nice. The things that the guys have said, the false ending, that fantastic coda, but the bass and the 12 string that sort of drives the early part of the song is gorgeous. It's really beautiful, I have to say. Yeah, I like this. Graham.
So there are bits of this song which are just brilliant. So cleverly done. The false ending, the coda, all the bits and bobs. But I struggle with that. Let's go this way, let's do that, let's change. For me, the song is full of great ideas that don't gel. It's probably one of the bottom 3 songs on the album for me. And I don't know why, because when I think about it, that's how I think. But when I read the lyrics, so if I've got the lyrics on the screen at the moment and I'm looking at them and I'm in my head, I'm singing the song, I'm like, this is fucking brilliant. But having written down my notes, I've just put Cycles. Nope, doesn't work. It's like I don't know why. It's just one of those things.
Okay. Well, there you go. 3 against 1, and it's you
And
that's
it's the
in the
wrong way around.
minority.
I know.
You
Yeah.
that's in the minority, not me, unusually.
Yeah.
Let's carry on with the next track. Track 9 is Sweet Naivety. Craig.
This one is very stripped back. Very stripped back. It starts with like your strings, piano, and voice. And I do again feel that this reminds me a bit of Stephen Wilson when he does his stripped back voice and piano, quite heartfelt track. And yeah, it's an interesting song, and I'm still it's a bit like it's a bit like like Cycles, and that it's a song that I think I need to pay a little bit more attention to, and I think I need to listen to it a bit more. But I do like it, and I like the feel of it. I like the stripped backness of it, and yeah.
Okay. Mikey?
I was actually getting Kevin Gilbert vibes with this. The um, bonus track, Blank Page from Toy Matinee. That's what I was picking up. I think the piano work on this is just absolutely beautiful. Again, strings come in after you've got that intro with the piano and vocals, and then the drums start kicking in. It's a slower paced song, but it is so lush with it. It doesn't feel plodding, I think is what I'm trying to say. And there's a piano-led bridge in the middle. And there's some wonderful key changes going on, almost dissonant sounding in parts. And the end again, they do that slowing down tempo thing. It's just wonderful. And as much as I said Cycles was like a 10-pole track for me, when I said the rest of the album comes down, I didn't mean in the rest of the album's naff. It's just I think there's a pace and a style change, and it's led by this track. I think it's wonderful. I really do.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I like this. It's I'm again throwing another name out there from my collection. This is a very Ben Folds track to me. I could hear Ben Folds doing this exactly in this sort of arrangement. And that's, in my book, that's a huge positive. I love Mr. Folds, and this is great. This is great. I think the simplicity again of this track makes it stand out. Probably following Cycles. Is it too similar? Maybe. But I can see what Mikey's saying, if Cycles is one of the high points of the album, we're starting to come down with the mood with Sweet Naivety. Although Let Go's slightly different again, as we'll see in a minute. But Gray, what do you make of Sweet Naivety?
So this is generally regarded as one of the better songs on the album, but by most people. And I think it's because of that simplicity and beauty. The piano and the strings arrangement is just utterly sublime. There's also something about the song. It's kind of in a swing style. I mean, not swing. There's a swing to it. It's not swing as in jazz swing, but there's a kind of movement to it, the way it's written.
But it's driven by that piano riff,
yeah,
that slow piano riff.
And when you listen to it, there's always a threat. There's always a threat as if it's going to go somewhere else, if it's going to do some, but it always holds back. So it builds this tension throughout the song, which is brilliant. And I think that tension, I am so glad Mikey pays attention. Around 246, where we've got that bridge and we start doing the key changes, and it's almost that dissonance thing. It's almost like we're not going to give you the payoff, but we're going to give you a release. Here's a little bit of a change, and then we'll go back and we'll finish it off. And the songs, for me, I mean, you're going to hear me talk for the rest of this album. Like this for me, onwards, yeah, it just doesn't get any better than this, really. From now on,
Okay,
love
let's
it.
carry on with Let Go. Craig.
Um, I felt this one had, again, you're starting. It's got a bit of a theme with the album. You're starting with a piano with vocals, and then you're changing on a bit. And I felt this one had quite a modern, like prog indie pop fusion feel to it. So less indie, a bit more, but a
Just
bit more
throw
like,
another genre on there, by the way. Go
yeah,
on,
yeah.
go for it.
But I think it's got a bit more power to it. It's a bit more driving forward song. It's got great orchestration underneath, but I almost feel like this song could have actually been bigger. It could have the song.
Yeah,
It's not. I don't feel it's like underdeveloped or underdone or anything like that. But it feels like this could have been an absolute epic. But it
yeah,
doesn't 100% get there. Um, you know, even though it's called, it just doesn't quite go for it.
yeah.
But I do like it. But it just feels like it's holding back a little bit. It could be wrong. It could be different live.
Before we jump to Mikey, can I
Yeah.
just actually say something? I am so pleased that we're now all in a position where we can reference Kevin Gilbert as something like that.
Yeah,
Because
my
that just
work's
makes
done. I can leave now.
that just makes me smile. It's like, yeah, this guy got Kevin Gilbert vibes on this. I'm like, so I do. Yes, brilliant.
Yeah, no problem. Mikey, what do you think of Let Go?
I'm with Graham. I mean, the last four tracks on the quote inverted commas album
Main
proper
album.
are just absolutely wonderful. I agree with Craig. There's a bit of a similarity with somewhere else in the album where you've got, quiet piano and vocal opening, and then you know for a fact it's not going to stay that way. It's going to go off somewhere else. And of course it does. The full band kicks in. You mainly on this track and the chorus sections. The guitar work again is absolutely sublime. And then once the choruses are finished, you go back to a quieting down for the second verses. The drum work then kicks back in. Like all the players are doing their bits really, really well. I do really like this, but I don't think it's offering anything new to the album at this point.
Ooh.
But I do think it's a wonderful track. I really do.
Yeah.
There is not, for me, there is not a single skippable track on this album. Not one. Every single one owns its
something.
place,
Yeah.
What I do love about this, and it sounds really trite, but there is one single piano key hit at the end of the track, and it sent shivers down my spine. I thought it was absolutely wonderful. Perfect ending to the song. I don't know. It feels right where it is before you get into the last two songs. I think it was the last really bombastic delivery in parts. But yeah, it's missing something. I agree with Craig. It's like not just it's edging, but it's not quite getting there. If you get my drift. But it's still a really good track. I loved it.
I don't agree with you two. I think it's brilliant. I think it does what Whisper tries to do early in the album 10 times better. And it's a great song. It's fantastic. The arrangement's brilliant. It builds without the kitchen sink coming in. I think it's wonderful.
I was
Really.
expecting the kitchen sink.
Yeah, but it doesn't do that. It's slightly more restrained. If you go back to Whisper, it smacks you in the face. It's not subtle at all. Whereas this has got a lovely melody. It builds. It's fantastic. I mean, this run from probably from Shame onwards, possibly to this track. I'm sorry, Gray. I think he's great. It's the real heart of the album. But I think Let Go is wonderful.
I love this, and I think one of the things I love about this is exactly what you say there. It achieves what he's tried to do earlier, and I think one of the big differences is his delivery in his vocals. I mean, the music's brilliant. It achieves much more with less than some of the other tracks.
Well,
But
you've got the same. I mean, it builds to
oh,
the
it's
point
got
where
everything
the
in it.
horns come in at the end,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not smacking you right in the face at the top of the song, is it?
Yeah, and it's also he delivers a really powerful lyric without resorting to the shouting.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
really controlled, and because it's so controlled, it's really powerful. And I mean, if you look again, this album for me is all about the lyrics, and this one's all about inner conflict. It's all about exercising your own demons. It starts off sleepless nights starting in a war when the worst of me simply can't concede. And it finishes, something says that I will be all right if the best in me won't admit defeat. So it's like that kind of exercising your demons, convincing yourself, do you know what? I'm going to be okay with this. And I think that last piano ring at the end and the way it's done is that's the release. That's I've done it. Bing. It's just, I love it. It's the last, if we don't consider the bonus tracks, it's the last great epic of the album. The others are very different, the next two.
Yeah.
I could have seen this as an album closer.
Yeah, until you hear the album closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, love it.
Next track then, Craig, is This Vicious Place.
I found that what this reminded me of, again, we're back to the reminds me of, this has a very Elbow feel to it.
Oh, I hope you've got Elbow on your bingo card, folks, because you're in for a full house now, aren't you?
Which genre are Elbow, by the way?
Oh, same as Supertramp.
Yeah.
From fusion jazz pop.
Fusion jazz pop. But no, I think it's really in feel it sounds like Elbow because it's so lush sounding and the orchestration of it, it's a slower pace. It's just that vibe to it. You know, it's got such nice guitar work to it, and it's got a cracking solo in it as well.
Yeah.
But I just got an Elbow vibe for the pacing and the style of it. But I think it's a top tune.
Okay, Mikey.
This one is just brimming with atmosphere for me.
Yeah, it is.
The piano sound, I don't know how they got it to sound that way, but there's almost like an icy cold feel to the piano on this. There's more going on in this musically than you think there is, or at least that's how I felt, because I had to play this a couple of times to really get into it. There's almost like a swing beat to it. And the guitars have got this lovely sort of like laid back kind of loungy feel to it. And there's a couple of tracks on the Marillion album Marbles that this reminded me of. It's their style musically at that time. This could have sort of like sat quite happily on this album had it been recorded by them. There's a wonderful line in it, which says, "I would give it all away for one last chance to speak with you, lover."
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's just, yeah, I love it. This to me, I honestly thought this is where the album should have ended. This until you hear the last track. It's honestly, I think it's absolutely sublime. Really loved it.
Okay. Craig, I had to say, of all the things you've pulled out, the comparisons, I think Elbow's probably the nearest one that you've got all night. You're spot on with this one. It's a kind of a loose arrangement, but the point where the guitar, you picked up on it as well, Craig, the point where the guitar solo comes in, it's just fantastic. It's a very laid back, loose sort of rhythm. And in the same way that Elbow, there are times where the kind of the song drifts in and out as though there's nothing there, and then the next thing you know, it's appeared again in view. It's very like that, you know, and it plays out with some really sort of slow, not soloing, sort of riffing, like almost bluesy type riffing at the end of it.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice. It's not a patch on what's just come before, but it is nice. He's just he's just leaning back in his seat, folks. He's gonna hit us with it now.
He's taking a run up to this one.
Yeah, go
So I think I would if you asked me to describe this song cold, I struggle. Everything you've said, I agree with. The piano part for me is kind of Mark Kelly, Sky Above the Rain type piano part. There's that melancholy movement to it, and there's that kind of. It's really funny because in my head, when you hear somebody's written a song called "This Vicious Place," it's going to be an angry song. It's not. It's a sad song about something that's happened, so the movement in and out. So I think the word that describes the style of the song is rubato, which is like free movement. So because it almost feels as if it ebbs and flows with tempo, and the way he delivers his lyrics, it's like he speeds up a little bit for one bit because the emotion's there and he drags it back and what have you. And then that guitar solo just comes out and it's such a payoff. And like I mean, I remember the first time listening to this, I went, right, okay, that's me. I'm spent, done, job done, game over. Until the next song.
Well, let's move on to the next one then. So the last song on the main album, the original album, is "Don't Look Back," Craig.
It's such a melancholy, mournful song. It's got, the guitar and voice start. I mean, the guitar work throughout this song is sublime. It really is, and it's quite a. Is it haunting? Is a good description for it? It is. It's a very low key end to the album. I think trying to figure out the style of music, it's not quite country. But it's got like the bluesy kind of
that kind of Americana vibe.
Yeah, it's got a very like Americana style vibe to it. And it's a haunting track, definitely. And it doesn't end, it's the whole thing of it. It doesn't end with a bang, but it doesn't end with a whimper. You've just got to give yourself a minute or so when you're finished.
Yeah.
Mikey?
Yeah, like I said previously, you think the album ends perfectly with the previous track, and then you get this delivered to you on a plate. It feels like a part two to the previous track. I think the two work really well together. It is slower paced than the previous track, even though the previous track was slower paced in general anyway. But it's no less atmospheric. Then the piano icy key work is going on yet again. His vocal delivery on this is absolutely wonderful. It's subdued, but it's personable. You can feel what he's delivering. It's just, I don't know. There was so many layers to the guitar work as well. I thought there was only one guitar playing at one point, and when I had my headphones on and listened to it again, I thought there's layered guitars going on here.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And it's got another one of his mantras going on towards the end of the song. He's "Don't look back, don't look back." It's just great. It's just absolutely great. It's the perfect ending to this album. This track was the perfect ending to the album. I wouldn't want to remove either of them. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Okay. I think it's a song of two halves for me. It's a great come down at the end of the album. I think from the point of the bridge where it's "but to fall in love, could it ever be enough? Save the past from catching up, not to risk what you have, and not to give it away. Because the kind can be cruel when the weight is all on you to move to the right, to move to the left, to do what you think is best. It gives it this sort of optimistic ending,
Yeah.
which is a great way to end this record.
Yeah.
Go on, Gray.
I don't know what to say, because I think it's one of his best vocal performances on the album, because I'm not sure. I think haunting's a good way to describe the feel of the song, but aching is the way I would describe his vocals on it. It's that kind of, but it has that lift at the end. You're exactly right. That, you know, when he starts off that, when he starts off that piano part, and it's like, I left my home, but I lost my way, and I never stopped. No, I never strayed. It's just so, you can feel straight away he's trying to work out, did he do it wrong? Should he have looked back? No, I need to keep on moving forward. I need to find out how to work my way through this. I'm going to read more of the lyrics. Like, I woke amid a wreck of romance to find myself in circumstance beyond control, beyond context, but she was only doing what she thought was best. And it's a kind of accept from that. And then your lyric follows on from that you said. And it's almost as if the first part is, I'm really upset. This has happened. And then but she was only doing what she thought best, is that kind of realization that actually she wasn't being horrible. She was doing either what was best for her or what was best for him. And then there's that looking forward in the second half of the song. And it's just, I mean, can you imagine? So the first time I heard it, for me, that was the end of the album. Because, in fact, before we do the next track, I'll give you a little bit more. But at the end of this, I was spent. I was just emotionally shattered, because it's the album from start to finish goes through all this. It's all about self-reflection. It's all about, I was too young to be in love, but I made a mistake. She was horrible and she ruined it for me. I really don't know what I'm doing with my life. I don't know how to go forward. Maybe I'm not as bad as I think, but I need some help. And all these things are going on throughout the album. And it is just an absolute roller coaster of emotions from start to finish. And I was happy with this, the 12 songs. And then he went and did something else. And I'll explain that in a minute if you want.
Well, we're about to go into, there's three bonus tracks on the original.
The version that we're leaving, so the original album was 12, was the 12 songs. What we're listening to is the Migrant Deluxe version, which has 3 bonus tracks. Those 3 bonus tracks actually came from an EP, which was released, I think, the year after, or with the special edition of the album, and it was called Migration Whispers, and it was 6 tracks, and these three are on it. And I think they kept, I mean, how long is the album? The 12 tracks, I don't know, is it around the 80-minute mark, just the 12 tracks? I think it is. Because he had a habit.
No,
80 minutes.
No, even with the 3
long.
bonuses, it's an hour and 3 minutes.
An hour and 3 minutes. All right, okay. Because he had a habit of writing loads and loads and loads of music and then trimming albums back to fit onto a CD or fit onto an album. So I think he'd written a lot of this, because I don't know how some of the songs, even the songs we're about to sing, the songs we're about to talk about, not the other 3. I don't know how they're not on the album in the first place. Because they're brilliant. Just to give you a bit of a.
All right, don't be too early.
All right, but yeah, we'll let you start talking, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking. I mean, the 3 songs that's on there, you've got "Dig Your Own Grave," "Old Demons," and "The Love." Before I go into "Dig Your Own Grave," I think "Dig Your Own Grave" and "Demons," the 2 of them are of a similar style.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think musically and stuff like that those 2 fit that well with the musical style of the album as is. I think "The Love" does. The Love fits perfectly, but the other 2 don't. But "Dig Your Own Grave." Now, what this reminded me of, because it's more of a driving rock kind of song. It's got a more American feel than the rest of the album, and but it's almost got like a kind of like a punk pop
Yes.
sensibility. And I was trying to think of, back to our labels and who it reminds me of. And it reminds me of a punk pop band from the UK called The Infidels. And it would come to something along there. They did an album back in, was it, about 2008, called Universe in Reverse. And I think this song and Old Demons as well, the next one, could have fit in that album style. So if you ever, because they're quite punky, but they can also be quite poppy and quite indie. So they do all different stuff and dancey kind of stuff. And again, you look at the Deer Hunter, and he does loads of different styles.
Yeah.
So I can hold a little mirror up saying that they don't necessarily sound like each other, but they've got almost a similar sensibility. But yeah, I think I don't think it particularly fits on the album, but it's an interesting track on its own.
Mikey?
I agree with Craig. I was getting definite post-punk vibes with it. This was another one that fitted into the Manic Street Preachers vibe for me. It's a good one. The keyboards are as eerie as hell. I love that. Um, that being said, I don't think it lends anything new. I think we're kind of treading old ground. It's really nice to hear what could have been on the album, but I don't think it would have fit nicely on the album without jarring a little bit or sounding a tiny bit repetitive.
Okay. I like it. I think it's good. I think for me, you could shave off the first two tracks on the main album and take them off completely and replace it with this. Bring You Down and Whisper don't deserve to be there. But this is Panic at the Disco. This is exactly what they sound like to me. Not that that's a bad thing. It's a bit jarring off the back of
Yes, very much so.
the track
back
that
of
we've
Don't
just
Look
heard.
Back.
It doesn't
Just,
flow
yeah.
at all off the back of Don't Look Back. But there you go.
It worked a damn sight better on a separate EP, believe me.
It would do, yeah. It's a good
Yeah.
song.
So I agree with all of you to an extent. Lyrically, it definitely fits with the album because it's all about that staring at yourself, staring at the abyss, trying to work out what you need to do, working out relationship problems, all that kind of stuff. I get the Panic at the Disco bit, and it's that kind of
It's
runaway
that
train.
refrain at the end. It's that.
Yeah, but it's also the kind of juggernaut vocal style that he does.
Yeah, yeah,
like talking, the quick thing. It's just so good. I think if we talk about mood on the album, it's Girl's Better Looking Sister as a song. It's still got that angry vibe, but it's kind of more refined.
Yeah.
It does deserve to be on the album in place of either or both of Bring You Down and Whisper. I'll agree with that. It's also interesting in as much as if you look at the lyrics for the rest of the songs, even the songs that are 4.5 minutes long, there's not a lot of lyrics in them because he tends to do orchestral breaks and movements and changes and what have you. So some of them only have one verse and a couple of refrains with a bridge section. One or two of them have 2 or 3 verses, but it's more about the coders and what have you. This is a fully fledged song. This is your proper Abacab type thing, you know what I mean, where it's got all the different bits and what have you. And for that reason alone, I think, although I really like this as a song, I think it's an absolutely brilliant song. I think it's kind of a different context to the rest of the album musically. But I still think if you'd started the album with this, it would have been a far better place to go.
Yeah. Okay. The next bonus track is Old Demons, Craig.
Yeah, this is more rocky than indie. And putting me notes, out with the sleaze.
Yeah.
Because it's got a really nice like sleazy guitar sound to it. And I mean, especially like in the outro and later on in the track. Again, this reminds us of Infidels. And I think it's an entertaining musically track, and I think it gives it it gives it a bit more of a upbeat. It's more of a it's got a bit more oomph to it. But yeah, I begin. Does it necessarily fit with the rest of the album? I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, Mikey.
I was getting Muse vibes for this one,
Yeah.
and I think it was the guitar work on it specifically. I think my problem listening to these two tracks is the three or four times I've played through the album is I've listened to them directly after the last two tracks on the album proper. Um, and maybe I should have listened to them a bit more out of context because I did enjoy Dig Your Own Grave, but I agree with John. I think had it, been, I mean, I personally wouldn't have took the first two tracks off. I think they were amazing.
No, I like the
Um,
first two tracks.
but
They've gone.
had
Too late. They've gone.
had it been earlier on the album, I might have felt differently about it. It's got more of an actual song structure to this one, I feel. But when you compare it to the rest of the album, it sounds repetitive as a result. Um, it's not a bad song. I really enjoy all three of these bonus tracks, but I think this is probably the one that I enjoyed the least. But that doesn't. But that, I'm not being detrimental to the song itself. I think it's.
You're just
think
saying how good the
all-
rest of it was.
Yeah, I mean, you can't fault the musicianship and songwriting. It's A-star all the way through. But I don't know. I don't think it would have sat comfortably on the album. But it is definitely a very interesting album, and it's a really catchy tune. I really enjoy listening to it.
Okay, I don't think this should be on the album. It's not as good as Dig Your Own Grave. It it does sound like Brendan Urie to me. This is just, I'm listening to it now as I'm talking to you. It really does sound like I expect it to. Um, yeah, it's a bonus track at best, I'm afraid, for me. Gray?
I'm inclined to agree with you. Again, I mean, it's got that swing vibe to it. It's got the Muse style guitars. It's got the Panic at the Disco style lyrical story piece. One thing that I haven't said, so in the acts is all written about different characters telling a story, and it's a life, so you've got the prostitute, you've got Mr. Russia, you've got the boy, you've got all Miss Lee, you've got all these characters. But he does all the lyrics. I mean, there's another singer in the band, but he does all the lyrics, and he has this knack of being able to sing different styles really well and convince you he's somebody else for a moment. This song plays to that strength. The style is very different vocally to some of the stuff he's done on the album. I think, to me, although it's a much fuller arrangement, to me, this falls foul because of the absolute beauty of Sweet Naivety, which also has that swing vibe, and it's really, really soft, and it does so much more with less than this does. And I think you're right, it doesn't deserve to. This is a bonus track. I also think it falls foul of was it Craig that said it's too much of a song. No, I think Mikey just said too much of a normal song structure compared to the rest of it. So it falls foul of that. I like it, as Mikey said. That I mean, while I said I'd put Dig Your Own Grave on instead of Whisper and Bring You Down, I still like Whisper and Bring You Down. I just think they're the bottom end of the album, but the album's on a high plane for me. But this shouldn't have been on the album proper. It was a good decision to make it on a bonus track.
Okay. Which brings us to the last track of this version, which is The Love.
Now, I think this would have fit perfectly on the main album. I do. I think it's got some really nice stabby piano chords to it. And what this reminds me of in the feel of it, again, just the feel and the vibe of it, is it's quite Star Sailor-esque and from their album On the Outside. So that's about 2005-ish. That just it just has a feeling of that in my head to the just the production, the sound and stuff and that to it. I think it's a quality like ballad track, and I think it would have fit nicely on the album. Where I would have placed it on the album, I'm not exactly sure. You know, somewhere near the end, but no, I think it's a nice track.
Okay, Mikey.
Why this wasn't on the album is beyond me. I think this is the dog's bollocks. Um, this one really, really shook me. There's a with a lot of this album, there's a lot of sadness, but there's also this feeling of hope that runs through as well. You know, it was like Graham was saying about one of the previous tracks where, where he's going on like, maybe it was my fault and, there's that self-reflection thing going on. And this has it in spades, but it's got so much darkness to it, but you've got such beautiful, absolutely beautiful piano and string work in it. It's another one that really moved me to tears. It really did. There's a line in it which says, I had felt this darkness wrap around me and through its strangle I could barely beg. Just fucking what? How do you write shit like that? It is absolutely wonderful. And there's like layers of backing vocals going on, which just prop the whole thing up. It's almost, and don't take this the wrong way, but it's almost got a hymn-like gospel vibe to it.
Yep, totally.
It's honestly, I was gobsmacked. I was gobsmacked that this was bonus track material or EP material. If this is their throwaway stuff, my God, I would hate to
Is that
see
not
what.
about when it was finished, though? Is that
Well,
why
maybe-
it was on the
maybe-
EP because it finished at a different time?
I think so. There's also I think this was. I'll let you do your piece, and then I'll say what I think I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, I cut you off.
No, I'm spent now. I'm done. Yeah, I kind of. It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
I haven't lived with this as long as you have, and the conversation the bits that Gray said at the top of the pod about the background to the stories of the guy explain this lyric, but it doesn't touch me like it does you. I think the difficulty I've got with it is if you stick it on the end of the album, it's a very different ending to what we've got. In the same way that Brave has two endings, you would make this a down ending. And I think at the moment, Don't Look Back makes it an optimistic ending.
Yeah, I get that. We should have a double groove on the second side of the vinyl.
Yeah. I don't get all the stuff that you've just talked about out of this song yet. There's a lot going on there, and I need to listen to it more if I'm not being honest. That's me.
Cool. So, bit of background. If you look at the verses, I was 22 when I first died. So ended up out of that band, the first band, and his songs didn't fit, and he felt devastated because, I mean, don't get me wrong, he actually went back to oh God, you've got the name up on your screen, haven't you?
The Receiving End of Sirens.
That's it, the Receiving End of Sirens. So he thought he'd found his place in life. And he did go back, I think 2011, 2012, he went and toured with them again and played with them again. But at 22, 2 years after he got into that band, he found himself out because his music didn't fit with the band, and he was devastated. And I was 22 when I first died. When he first released the stuff for the Deer Hunter, I think it's in the Wikipedia page, but there's a whole load of stuff. Basically, he released a set of demos to some friends. And those sets of demos are why the record label said, do you want to make this Deer Hunter thing? But in hindsight, he hates those demos because they're all different songs about the same thing. He feels that they're really mediocre, that they're really naive in their lyrical style, and what have you. And that's one of the things, I said to you, he's talking about he couldn't write the acts. He couldn't write the life of a person without having lived the life of a person. So he had to give himself the time to write. And then I'm nearing 29 and I haven't died is this album. He was that's how old he was when he was writing this and doing that kind of stuff. And it's like, I'm 29, I'm nearing 29 and I haven't died. I'm done with cursing at the skies. And I remember how my mother spoke when she said, son, don't be afraid to call on those who love you most. Now, the lyrics themselves are brilliant, but the delivery for me in this, so I think the first time he sings the chorus, save me when the rivers run dry, is quiet. It's like, it's quite plaintive. The next time he delivers it, he is breaking his heart. He's putting everything into it. And it's that kind of full-on soloist in a gospel choir, giving it big licks, God help me, that kind of stuff. Save me when the rivers run dry, bring me the waters, bring me where the waters run deep, where my eyes cannot see, or where the eyes cannot see. It's just, the delivery is amazing. But I couldn't have had this on the album with Don't Look Back at the end of the album, because it would have been one or the other. And I think this would have been too much of a down for it to be the lost song. Having said that, this is my favorite song of the 15.
Okay.
I just adore this song.
Right. Well, it was as we said at the top of the pod, it was remixed and slightly re-recorded. I think you said, great.
Yeah, there's some of the parts were re-recorded. Yeah,
and they put all, or he put all 18 tracks on that disc. Then, so those
so that's got the whole of the Migration
6
tracks
tracks from the Migrations Annex EP are all on there in a completely different running order.
So does it sound much different than Great?
It does. It's a fantastic remix. And it's funny because the first couple of times I listened to it, I was like, fuck me, this doesn't work, because I was so used to different orders. I think the running order of Migrant Returned is better. I do, however, think having all 18 tracks on it dilutes the impact of the 12-song album. Because you know how you said, yeah, you know how I think you all said at some point, well, we've had this in the album already, we're getting more of the same. And I think where the 12-song album, there was an impact to nearly every track. When you add the annex, and I think I can see now why they had to say, right, okay, let's not do it all in one originally, because it was more of the same. It wasn't as impactful, what have you. And I think while it sounds better, and I like the running order of the original album, having all 18 in one for me is a stretch.
Okay.
But the splatter vinyl is gorgeous.
It does end with The Love now.
Yeah.
But Don't Look Back is track 15, and then you've got 3 more tracks after it again.
Yes, yeah.
But it starts very differently. It starts with An Escape and Girl and Let Go. That's a much better opening, I think, for me personally. But
it is, and I think because of that, and because of where Bring You Down and Whisper are, I think they work far better in the album.
Oh, well, yeah, I think I said that when we were talking about Whisper. It just was too much too soon at the top of the album for me. You move it further back, then it changes the context of it completely.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
I'll have to give it a try.
This record, haven't we? Were there any touring going on about this? Gray, that you're aware of?
Yeah, he did, and he did. I think he'd done a couple of tours, like joined tours with other bands and what have you for the first couple of acts, and he did his first solo band tour. I can't remember if the first solo tour or Deer Hunter tour headlining was Act 3 or if it was Color Spectrum. I think it was Act 3 because Color Spectrum, they were able to play the whole of Color Spectrum live and record it and all that kind of stuff. There was touring for this, but I've had tickets to see them 3 times and never managed to see them, either because the shows have been cancelled or I've been sent away somewhere. I had tickets to see them this month. No, last month. I had tickets to see them last month, and Casey posted about a month before the tour to say, look, I've not finished the new album. I intend to finish the new album before I go on tour so that I've got something new to tour. And we're like, fuck. So he's pushed the dates back 12 months. So the next tour is September, October next year. So I've got my tickets.
What, September?
Next year, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hope they're doing Clash with a certain other beat combo that we're
September
going to see
year
next
would be good,
September.
wouldn't it? Yeah.
When next September is it? See, it's the start of the month.
20s. The 20s.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, that won't clash at all. Yes. What the hell is on the sleeve? What is the image of?
So it's a person with what looks like a bedside table with a turkey on his head, I think. I'm not sure. I fucking can't make my mind up.
Okay. I've no idea.
Yeah. I've got
It looks
it.
like one of your fever dreams.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I have no idea what it's for. I don't know what it's meant to symbolise.
Okay.
I haven't even checked Reddit to see if anybody has a theory because
Well, it's
I'm
tangled
kind of
hair,
frightened
isn't
too.
it? It's birds nesting in tangled hair. Not
Yeah,
a turkey.
it is. It's not, I know it's a bird cage.
Yeah, there's something.
Oh, it's a bit John Grant, is it?
Yeah, birds in his head, like bird. It's like kind of, I don't know. It's just fucking weird.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what we think of this record.
Well, you haven't said what you think of the overall record. You've only talked about the songs. Do you like it? Because you didn't know it.
Yeah, I like bits of it. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I think the central section of the record's really good to me.
Yeah.
It's taken, but pretty much, I'm afraid I'm getting a bit of a reputation for saying this, but it's taken a good 3 or 4 plays for things to start jumping out at me.
Isn't that most people's experience with Marillion now?
Yeah.
Oh yes,
possibly.
even fans.
Possibly, and I think there are records in the Marillion catalogue that I didn't like first. My favourite Marillion album, I didn't get it. Everybody who listens to this podcast knows I didn't get Brave initially, but it's my favourite Marillion record. But you spend the time with them, don't you?
You do, and I spent the time with this,
and you want it to be something. I think it's a really interesting record. This. It's not floored me, but I will go into the back catalogue because the bits that I listen to from other albums, he's quite eclectic, isn't he? So
he is, yeah. I mean, he's
sound
got,
very different. So I might have I'll have a dig through.
Yeah,
Mike,
because he's got. Sorry, he's got. I mean, when you say eclectic, obviously you've got the acts, you've got the color spectrum, which is basically 10 albums in a or 10 EPs in a single release. You've got this, which is standalone. You've got acts 1 to 5. He was meant to do act 6. He's never done it yet, but he has said act 6 will not be an album; it will be some other form of media. Then he's got the Antimized stuff, so the indigo layers and all that kind of stuff. So it's another concept that he started now.
Well, did that come out 2 years ago first?
Yeah. And then he's also got stuff that's called Honorary Astronaut, which is kind of more of a poppy, disco-y, punky type stuff that he does.
Yeah, I did click on one of those tracks and thought I'd got the wrong thing. Actually,
It is that different. It is that
really
different,
weird.
yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
But then the second track on that release was more like I was expecting it to be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mikey, what's your overall opinion of this record?
I just think it's absolutely wonderful. I really do. There's been 3 pods that we've done, which have either surprised me entirely or made me want to know more. And those have been The Cure's Disintegration, Toy Matinee, which is still almost number one for new
Yeah.
discoveries. But this one's just pipped it.
Really?
Yeah, there is nothing, not one track on this album that I don't like. I just honestly, I think it's absolutely wonderful, start to finish. And I will be playing it lots and lots and lots in the future.
I expect to
Love it.
see a photograph on our chat of you having the American splatter
Splatter
vinyl.
vinyl. It may yet happen. It may yet happen.
Greg, what's
I'll say-
your view of this?
I really enjoyed it. I mean, it took us a while, like you, to get into it. But to be fair, this would have fit perfectly as a new release in my record collection, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
and that's when it was released.
It's a lot like a lot of. I mean, as I've compared it to a lot of bands and stuff like that, but it's a lot like a lot of bands that I've listened to over the years. That because I like me indie pop and I like me stuff like that, me indie rock and that from back in the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think I'm going to definitely give the remix a look.
So,
And I think
definitely.
I think one thing that will definitely get John to look into their back catalogue, because if you look at if the band's Wikipedia page, the first line is the Deer Hunter American progressive rock band.
Yeah, but then not to me. This is not. Do not come to this expecting prog rock, because it's not prog rock.
No.
Not prog rock. I mean, just a word of warning. They put out an EP in June called the North American EP. And if you play track 1, it's called Magic Beans. You're going to think, what the fuck have I just clicked? Because it's nothing like we've just talked about.
it's nothing like anything he's ever done. It's mental.
Bonkers.
So, I mean, I'm going to be honest. The Antimai stuff, the second sort of story arc that he started, I kind of struggle with a little bit because it's all kitchen sink. It's really, really dense. This is not my favorite Deer Hunter album, Mikey. Okay? One of the acts is my favorite. I'll let you listen to the stuff and you can make your own decisions as to what you think. But this to me is the most approachable Deer Hunter album. It's the one that has some poppy bits to it and some stuff, and it's individual songs rather than trying to have to understand what the story is he's telling. And that's why I chose it, because I love the band. I love this album. I mean, you might not have guessed that, but I love this album, but it's far from my favorite Deer Hunter album.
Okay.
But I highly recommend it to anyone who would like to appreciate good music.
Okay. Well, we've talked about it lots. We'd love to know what you think of this record if you played it. Please join our Facebook group, Planet Music, and join the discussion there. If you like what you've heard, please like and subscribe to our Spotify channel, and you'll get more quality discussion like this. The picks that we've got for the next few podcasts are quite eclectic, so hopefully there'll be something that piques your interest.
Super Wombling.
Yeah, it's coming, still coming. But all that remains to be said is thank you very much to Graham Tennick.
Thank you very much for listening, guys. I appreciate you taking the time. It was good to hear your views.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, Mikey K.
Thank you very much again, guys, and thank you, Graham. Absolutely top-notch stuff.
Brilliant. Thank you, Craig.
Why, thank you, young sir, and I apologise to everybody for this being a 2-hour episode.
Once you get your scissors out, it'll be about 15 minutes. All that remains to be said is it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Take care.
And stay alive.
Hey.
Thanks for listening.
The Planet Music from the makers of Planet Marzipan.
If you like what you've heard, please like and subscribe, and maybe even join our Facebook discussion group.
You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com.